G'day guys, Matt Brand here. Check this out. It's the new Kia Sportage. Under the skin, it's the same as the Hyundai Tucson, but I think this thing is so cool. In fact, I think it's cooler. Take a look at it. It is absolutely stunning. Today, we're of course going to be reviewing the shit out of this thing. We're going to talk about the exterior. We're going to look at the interior. We're going to launch this thing from 0 to 100 source points per hour. We're of course going to drive it, and I'm going to let you know two things. One, is this better than a Hyundai Tucson? And two, should you buy one? And you know, which variant should you buy? Because 2 of 3 of them. Anyway, let's get straight into the review. Okay, let's start with how it looks and of course the front. First of all, you get it in this green paint, which I wish this was. Unfortunately, it's in the blue, which still looks good, but the green looks so cool. Anyway, you get these really cool daytime running lights here. This is the turning signal though. I wish that was the turning signal. Whatever, I can forgive it because you get 2 bright LED lights here too. Look how insane the front is. It looks like it's something out of Alien vs Predator. You got this huge grille here with this pretty cool design to it. You've got the new Tiger Nose grille, I guess you could call it. That's like Kia's design language. Look, the Kia badge there, very nice. And yeah, I think it looks absolutely stunning from the front. Really cool. Looks are subjective, but this is objectively awesome. Let's go take a look at the side. You know what? This blue is actually kind of growing on me. It looks really cool at this angle. It really sparkles in the sun. So first of all, the daytime running lights actually wrap around the side. So a very cool look there. The 19-inch alloy wheels, I think again, they look pretty awesome. Heaps of rubber on them too. So as you'll see, that really does help with the ride. Otherwise, there isn't really too much going on, right? You have keyless entry and go, of course. Keys are inside, of course. Forgot that. Anyway, you've also got these little roof rails here. And dimensionally, it's not actually that big, but it feels big, especially on the inside, as you'll see. You got factory tinted windows there. You got this pattern here that looks like it's been ripped off the Hyundai Tucson. But yeah, I mean, from the side, it's pretty cool, but check out the back. The bum on this thing is really, really elegant. You get your roof spoiler up there. These 3D LED lights here, they look so cool, especially at night. You've got the Kia badge right there, the new one, of course. And it's got this really cool, like, swoopy design to it. I will say, I don't like this. Just what's with all the black, scratchy, gross plastic on the back? That's not cool, man. But otherwise, you get a nice, meaty scuff plate here, even if it does absolutely nothing. And an interesting pattern on the bumper too. But yeah, I think this car looks absolutely stunning. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section, just below that like button. All right, let's talk practicality. Okay, so let's talk practicality in here. To open, we can press that. It's an automatic tailgate, which is nice. Or we can use the key fob. And then once you get inside, you actually have loads of space in here. First of all, it's a flat loading area, so it's really easy to drag things in and out of. The space in here is massive. It's absolutely enormous. In fact, here's my little backpack for scale. There's heaps of room in there. You've also got a little bit of underfloor storage and a full-size spare, which is really nice to have, especially if you're going to go on longer journeys. Of course, you've got your 12-volt socket. You got your little cargo cover there, which if we pull out, it's actually not too bad. Then we can put down the rear seats just by pulling these levers here, and we have so much room back there, it's not funny. This thing is super practical, as you would kind of hope for an SUV. But wait till you see the interior. Let's go check that out. Okay, so let's talk interior. Now, I'm a hard bastard. I sit in a lot of different cars, and it takes a lot to impress me. As soon as I got into this, I was like, holy this is nice. The first thing that stood out to me was quality. Everywhere you touch is really soft and nice. You've got this really nice wood grain finish on the dash. And then right in front of you are these massive curved 12.3-inch digital displays, one on each side. That's 24 inches of screen. The infotainment display is one of the best out there. And it's just that little bit nicer than the Hyundai Tucson. They both have the same like responsiveness, color accuracy, high definition. It is very functional navigation, digital radio, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Sadly, both are still wired. And then up ahead of you is the digital instrument cluster, really responsive. When you change between the different driving modes, it changes too. And you get a decent amount of information in the center, not quite as good as like Audi's virtual cockpit that you'll find in the Tiguan, and click up there if you want to watch that review, but this is still very, very good. However, there is a bit of a but, because there is a massive, massive amount of piano black plastics in here. Sometimes it's a bad thing, sometimes it's fine. This one smudges so easily. And if you have kids, this is just going to get scratched and smudge, and it takes up like the entire center console. So that's not great, but I can almost forgive it for the rest of the interior just because frankly it's beautiful. Oh, here's the other touch as well. The air conditioning controls, right? A really nice like matte display here, but it also acts as your infotainment display control. So you click there and you can control all of this up there too. And what was the dual zone climate controls is now your volume button. It's really smart design and it works very, very well. Of course, this is an SUV, so it needs to be practical. Under here, you get a wireless charger, a USB port, a USB-C port. I don't think I've seen this in a single Hyundai Kia Genesis product, so that's nice. And a 12-volt socket there too. And then we close that, very well dampened. You get this massive storage area in the center, except that is also your hideaway cup holders. I don't know why, I always really like that. That's probably why they've done it. So journalists like me are like, ooh, wow. The center armrest is nice and padded underneath it. You get heaps of storage in there. The glove box is good size. The door bins are a pretty good size as well. Usually Kia suck at this. Here's another thing that Kia have done very well. These seats, oh my God, they are so comfortable. It's this really nice leather with this suede up at the top. Kind of feels like Alcantara, but it's not. But I don't remember seats being this comfortable in a car. I just got out of the Kia Sorento, the plug-in hybrid. And even though that was $80,000, I would hands down choose these seats every time. The seats are heated and cooled and electronically adjustable, of course. And they have memory here too, which is nice. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, as part of this GT line, you do get this enormous panoramic sunroof, but sadly no heads-up display in front of you. Not a huge deal, but would have been nice to see. Let's go check out the back seats. So what's the back seats like in the new Sportage? Well, first of all, heaps of leg room, heaps of toe room, and quite a lot of headroom, even though it does have the panoramic sunroof. There are hard, scratchy plastics here, so quality is not quite as nice as up front. And compared to the Tucson, it does have two omissions. First is outboard rear seat heating. Not the biggest deal, to be honest, especially if you have kids and they're in a booster seat anyway, it's not gonna matter. But otherwise, you get a couple of vents here, storage area there, two USB-C ports, both are in the seats. You get this tablet holder here, which is really nice. A mat pocket and another little hook here for, I don't know, groceries or something. Thankfully, of course, you get the same Harman Kardon sound system as up front, a really, really good sound system. The seats themselves are nice leather, just like up front, with a bit of Alcantara on them too. The seats don't slide like a lot of competitors. Thankfully, you get plenty of leg room anyway, and heaps of boot space. But they do recline, and quite a lot too, which is nice. Let's put that back up. Ow! Put that back up though, so I don't look like an idiot. And here is a center armrest. It's decent. You got a couple of cup holders there, no frills. I think I prefer the back seats of the Tucson to this, but considering that I'm usually driving it, it's really not a big deal anyway, and the differences are so marginal, it's not funny. Okay, let's talk specs. So the Sportage range is absolutely massive. Kicks off with the S manual. Yes, you can still get this in a manual. 2-litre naturally aspirated engine, woefully underpowered. I reviewed that one in my Tucson review where I had the top spec, but with that engine, horrible engine. And it kicks off at just 35 grand drive away, which is very reasonable for what you get even in that base model. But you don't want that. This is the one you want. So this is the 2-litre turbo diesel. And actually for the all-new Sportage, power and torque are both up. 137 kilowatt of power, 416 newton meters of torque. This top spec GT line diesel is the most expensive Sportage that you can get. And it comes in at just under 55,000 Australian ScoMos, which is actually pretty decent and cheaper than the equivalent Tucson. But what you really want to know is how quick is this diesel in a straight line? Well, let's give this thing some launch sauce. Okay, so Kia don't actually claim a 0 to 100 time, but we're gonna do it anyway. So I'm gonna put the car into sport mode, and then all I'm gonna do is floor the brake, floor the accelerator, and off we go. Okay, so foot on the brake, foot on the accelerator. Let's go. Turbo diesel instant torque, love it. Come on, baby. 0 to 100 in 9.82 seconds. It's actually okay. Yeah, look, turbo diesels aren't really the quickest, are they? But they do have a lot of pulling power, and that's what you do feel. So it's nice when you just low down in the power band, but as soon as you get up to like high RPM, it dies off. Not unsurprising. Okay, so driving the new Sportage, let's give this thing some sauce. Really punchy little turbo diesel. So unfortunately I can't take this thing to Saucy Corner because I just don't have enough time with this car, but what I can do is still take it to the back roads. So that's where I am. The thing that really impressed me driving this was the local ride and handling tune that Kia put on this car. It is super impressive as everything goes flying. In fact, I'm gonna put this car into sport sport mode, which adds a considerable amount of weight to the steering. And yeah, it's just super duper impressive. I'm honestly in shock. It's a strange amount of fun. Look at this. Super impressive. What happens when you want to be a little bit more normal? Well, of course, you can put the car into normal mode and it really just becomes a very easy cruiser to live with. I feel so comfortable in here, it's not funny. In fact, I think I feel more comfortable in here than I did in the Tucson. The difference between Kia and Hyundai is Kia is going for that more youthful, sporty kind of brand, whereas Hyundai is the more mature brand. And even though I loved the Tucson, I think I like the way that this drives just a little bit more. To be fair, in the Tucson that I reviewed, and you can click up there to watch that review, it did have the base 2-litre engine, which was gross. This diesel is just really good. So this diesel is also paired to an 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission. Very smooth to drive. Shifts are completely seamless. You hardly even notice that it's got a torque converter. However, we're about to go on the highway and I need to get up to speed, of course. So I'm going to put the car into sport mode and let's give it some highway merging sauce. Diesel starts to lose power as you speed up, but it's still pretty impressive. Okay, that's enough sauce giving. Let's put it back into normal. Another thing that's impressed me to no end is the suspension tuning. Oh my God, it is so comfortable. I'm singing this car's praises, but that's because it deserves it. It's that good. I'm super comfortable right now. These seats feel so supportive and cushiony, but I am noticing quite a lot of road noise and quite a lot of wind noise too. I think the Hyundai is just a bit quieter on the inside than this. The other shout out I want to give is to the safety systems, because this thing can essentially drive itself. It's got adaptive cruise control, it's got lane centering assist, so if we press this button here, it will take over steering essentially and drive itself. Not unlike any other Hyundai Kia Genesis product, but I really like to see it and I really like to use it. It really takes the thought out of driving sometimes, which in itself is a sad thought, but still, you get it. And really the diesel is 100% the way to go, because the 1.6 litre turbo, it's just a horrible pairing with the 7-speed dual clutch that it gets. Very lurchy, it's just bad. And if you want to see why, go watch my Hyundai Kona N-Line review, which has the same engine and transmission. And then the naturally aspirated 2-litre engine is just so underpowered, it's not worth it. It is very frustrating to drive. Again, if you want to see that, go watch my Hyundai Tucson review. This turbo diesel is 100% the way to go. It's the best pairing for sure. And the all-wheel drive does just have loads and loads of grip. And even though it's front-wheel drive biased all-wheel drive, it's really not that bad. It doesn't squirm for power. And everything just feels nice, calm, and collected. I'm going 100 k's per hour right now, and it doesn't feel it. That's good. Obviously, this drives very similarly to the Hyundai Tucson, but I think it actually drives just that little bit better. The suspension, yes, it's a little bit firmer, but still very comfortable. I think the steering tune is better. And while the Hyundai Tucson is a fantastic SUV, I think this would be my choice. I prefer the interior layout. I really like the way that the exterior looks. Yeah. It's a winner in my books. And you get a 7-year warranty, which unfortunately you only get a 5-year warranty in the Tucson. Oh, and one last mention to the blind spot cameras on this thing. It means you can see in your peripherals that you wouldn't otherwise be able to see. Really smart. Don't know why more manufacturers don't do that. But anyway, let's get into my final thoughts. Okay, so what are my final thoughts on the all-new Kia Sportage? Well, if you hadn't noticed, I think that this thing is an absolute winner. I think it looks amazing. The interior is really good. The ride is second to none. And when you compare it to the Tucson, which I also love, I think that this thing coming in a bit cheaper with 2 years extra warranty, subjectively, I think it looks better too. And for me, a nicer interior layout, I would go this. Again, really like the Tucson. This is just that little bit better, which is pretty insane because they are both at the top. But I'm curious, what do you guys think of the all-new Kia Sportage? Let me know in the comment section just below that like button. Of course, subscribe to the channel if you are new. I'd love to have you around. Share this video with a friend, especially if they're thinking Sportage versus Tucson. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching, and as always, I will see you next week.